event. Radio Algeria International, our voice in the world.
This is the English service of Radio Algeria International. It's time for the news.
The Secretary General of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, National Community Abroad and African Affairs, Mr. Lounas Magraman, has summoned the Chargé d'Affaires of the Embassy of France in Algeria after the Chargé d'Affaires of the Algerian Embassy in France was himself convened on March 14. The Palestinian Foreign Ministry has called for an urgent interaction or intervention to stop the Israeli acts of aggression against the Gaza Strip following the renewed attacks that claimed over 400 lives. And the expulsion of Spanish lawyers by the Moroccan authorities from the airport in the occupied Sahrawi town of Laayoune has triggered condemnation by a large number of associations and officials. And those were the major developments. Now the full news edition. I'm Asya Bakar. Good afternoon. The Secretary General of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, National Community Abroad and African Affairs, Lounas Magraman, has received the Chargé d'Affaires of the Embassy of the French Republic in Algeria at the ministry's headquarters. And Masoud Sharfi has the details.
The meeting follows the one granted to the Chargé d'Affaires of the Algerian Embassy in France on March 14. The Algerian Chargé d'Affaires was provided on this occasion with a list of Algerian nationals subject to removal orders from French territory. According to a communiqué issued by the Foreign Minister, the Secretary General of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs handed in to the French Chargé d'Affaires a verbal note containing the official response from the Algerian authorities. In this response, Algeria reaffirmed its categorical rejection of threats and intimidation attempts as well as injunctions, ultimatums, and any threatening language. The communiqué said that Algeria disapproves France's selective approach to bilateral and international agreements binding the two countries. It reaffirms that, as far as it concerned, Algeria is driven solely by the desire to fulfill its duty of consular protection towards its nationals. Regarding the French approach, it was rejected by the Algerian authorities in form and content. Regarding form, Algeria argued that France cannot unilaterally decide to undermine the traditional way for processing expulsion files. The French side was therefore urged to respect the established procedure in this matter, following the usual framework maintained between the French prefectures and the competent Algerian consulates, and maintaining the case-by-case based approach. The Algerian response emphasized that the 1994 Memorandum of Understanding cannot be dissociated from the 1974 Convention on Consular Relations, which remains the main framework of reference in consular matters between the two countries. From this perspective, the implementation of one must not be at the expense of the other, particularly when it comes to the need to ensure respect for the rights of persons subject to removal measures. For all these reasons, the press release concludes that the Algerian authorities have decided not to respond to the list submitted by the French authorities.
You're still listening to Radio Algeria International. The head of the parliamentary group of the France Insoumise left-wing party LFI, Mathilde Panot, has once again bitterly criticized the French Interior Minister, accusing him of being a troublemaker and of allocating himself prerogatives he does not have, notably in foreign policy. Jamal Selmani has more.
During a program broadcast by a French TV channel, she recalled that the relation existing between the French and the brotherly Algerian people should not serve the personal interest of the Interior Minister. The French Member of Parliament blamed the Interior Minister for the heinous statements he made against Algeria, saying they may worsen the French-Algerian relations, which must be managed through diplomacy. She deplored the show of strength and denounced the escalation which would but affect millions of French citizens who are linked to the Algerian people. The head of the parliamentarian group of the France Insoumise left-wing party, LFI, accused the Interior Minister of seeking to provoke, as she put it, an unbearable tension for millions of French who share a relation of affection and friendship with the Algerian people. It is worth recalling that the campaign of disinformation waged by some French ministers and officials and far right-wing figures has been criticized by many.
And the Minister of State, Minister of Energy, Mines and Renewable Energies, Mohamed Arkab, has said that Algeria is committed to developing renewable energies with the aim of achieving sustainable development in line with the state's strategic orientations. Mr. Charfi.
This came during the launching ceremony of the construction of an 80-megawatt photovoltaic solar power plant project in Al Abadla in Bashar province. This energy project, which is due to be completed in nearly 2026 over an area of 160 hectares, will have a production capacity of 80 megawatts. The minister said this comes as part of the national plan to produce 15,000 megawatts of photovoltaic plants.
The first station was the plant for generating electricity through the photovoltaic energy or solar energy. This comes as part of the national plan to produce 15,000 megawatts of photovoltaic plants. We started in the first phase to produce 3,200 megawatts. Out of these 32,000 megawatts, there are 250 megawatts in the province of Bashar. There are 3 electricity generation plants. 80 megawatts are generated in Labadla, 150 megawatts in Qnetsa, and 50 megawatts in Beni Wanif. All these plants come as part of the 2024 achievements and will go into force by 2025. These plants aim to provide the necessary energy for the province of Bashar, notably in the regions known for their economic, agricultural, and industrial activity.
A 7 billion dinars budget has been allocated to the implementation of the project, which aims to strengthening the electricity generation network in Bashar province through the use of clean energy. The project will provide 400 jobs during the construction phase and 39 permanent jobs during the operational phase. It will also contribute to reducing carbon dioxide (CO2) emissions by approximately 1.3 million tons annually. This photovoltaic solar plant will be built using modern technologies, including advanced control and monitoring systems, as well as an automatic solar panel cleaning system to ensure long-term operational efficiency. The Minister of State, Minister of Energy, Mines and Renewable Energies also gave the go-ahead for the electricity connection of agricultural land reclamation area in the Tighelin desert lands northeast of Bashar province. It extended over an area of more than 250 hectares and employs 55 farmers. The minister said this operation falls within the framework of the national strategy to connect all agricultural areas across the country to electricity. The project to electrify agricultural areas required an investment of more than 115 million dinars to build a 37-kilometer power transmission network and install 6 electrical transformers. The Minister of State, Minister of Energy, Mines and Renewable Energies, Mohamed Arkab, concluded his one-day working visit to the province of Bashar by visiting the site of the new Tomiyat Industrial Zone, 40 kilometers north of Bashar.
You're still listening to Radio Algeria International and to the Middle East. Now, the Palestinian Foreign Ministry has called for an urgent international intervention to stop Israel's acts of aggression against the Gaza Strip following renewed attacks that claimed over 400 lives. It condemned the brutal attacks launched today at dawn, during which hundreds of Palestinians were wounded, mainly women and children. The Palestinian Foreign Ministry advocated political solutions as the only way of putting an end to Israel's aggression and setting a political horizon to settle the conflict. This came as the Palestinian Hamas movement accused the Israeli Prime Minister of deliberately revoking the ceasefire agreement on Gaza, saying it held the occupying authorities fully responsible for the consequences of today's attacks against defenseless citizens living under a suffocating blockade. The representative of the Palestinian Hamas movement here in Algiers, Youssef Hamdan, denounced the situation in Gaza, where the population, he said, is confronted to famine and to a collective punishment.
This is a renewed Zionist American aggression on our people. It aims to subjugate us and push us to surrender after more than 2 weeks of total blockade on Gaza, cheap blackmail, starvation, and collective punishment, and after more than 16 months of open aggression and planned crimes which achieved no temporary nor strategic security for the occupation did not recover its captives alive, except through a deal and an agreement, which the occupation revoked tonight by resuming aggression against our people. Everyone must take responsibility for the resumption of violence on the region through this Zionist American aggression, and must confront these American policies which fuel the fire and encourage the occupation to commit these crimes against civilians, to enforce forced displacement and carry on the genocide.
Reacting to today's massacre, the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres said he was shocked by the Israeli attacks and stressed the need to respect the ceasefire and to lift all obstacles hampering the delivery of humanitarian aid. The expulsion of Spanish lawyers by the Moroccan authorities from the airport in the occupied Sahrawi town of Laayoune has triggered condemnation by a large number of associations and officials. And the details with Jamal Salmani.
The members of the delegation, made up of lawyers Dolores Travieso Darias and Flora Moreno Ramos and expert Silvestre Suarez Fernandez, were due to carry out an observation mission before being prevented from disembarking from the plane on their arrival at El Ayoun. The Association of Families and Sahrawi Prisoners and Disappeared has strongly condemned the expulsion on Saturday of the delegation of Spanish lawyers, criticizing the passivity of the international community, which has abandoned the Sahrawi people. The association has said that the act constitutes a new aggression that reflects the systematic policy of the Kingdom of Morocco to silence the truth and perpetuate impunity in the occupied territories. It added that the passivity of the international community has allowed Morocco to turn Western Sahara into the most militarized territory on the planet, with more than 200,000 soldiers in the Royal Armed Forces and at least 100,000 agents. Meanwhile, the Spanish member of the European Parliament, Ana Miranda, of the Galician Nationalist Bloc, has condemned the expulsion, denouncing Rabat's impunity and the silence maintained by Spain, the territory's administrating power under international law. She said the expulsion was the latest in a series of bans imposed by foreign observers and journalists attempting to enter the Sahrawi territory, which has been subjected to a military and media blockade since it was invaded by Morocco in 1975. For its part, the Latin American and Caribbean Platform of Solidarity with the Sahrawi People, in collaboration with other social and human rights organizations in the region, has strongly condemned the expulsion. The platform reiterated its call on the Human Rights Council and the Office of the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights to visit the territories occupied by the Kingdom of Morocco in accordance with its mandate and international obligations. Let's recall that the Spanish delegation is mandated by the General Council of the Spanish Bar Association to assess and monitor the human rights situation in the occupied territories of Western Sahara.
You also listen to Radio Algeria International. The International Committee of the Red Cross has called on the international community to help Syria get back on its feet in order to avoid a new wave of migration. At a donors conference for Syria, the president of the International Committee of the Red Cross, Mirjana Spoljaric, warned that, quote, when ye have no schools for your children, no hospitals in working order, no access to water and energy, when your house is still in ruins and you don't have the means to rebuild it, you are forced to leave, unquote. You still listen to Radio Algeria International. That's it for our news bulletin. I invite you now to listen to our economic program, compiled and presented by Saeed Bouazi.
Hello and welcome to our weekly program devoted to Algerian economic news. First in the news, the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, has inaugurated in the province of Boumerdès the Kabjanet 2 seawater desalination plant, which has a production capacity of 300,000 cubic meters a day. On this occasion, the President of the Republic received a detailed briefing on the progress of the work and the stages involved in building this vital infrastructure, which covers an area of 18 hectares and provides drinking water to the inhabitants of the province of Boumerdès and several neighboring provinces. The Minister of State, Minister of Energy, Mines and Renewable Energies, Mohamed Arkab, has said that Algeria's strategy in the field of seawater desalination aims to strengthen its water security while mastering desalination technologies and equipment with a view to achieving technological autonomy in this sector. Speaking during an interview with the March issue of El Jaish magazine, Mohamed Arkab explained that this vision, launched under the leadership of the President of the Republic, is based on a long-term objective to achieve complete water security through the implementation of local production of reverse osmosis membranes, which will help to strengthen our technological and industrial autonomy in this vital sector. The Secretary of State to the Minister of Energy in charge of renewable energies, Noordin Yessa, has received the Ambassador of the Federal Republic of Germany to Algiers. The two parties welcomed the progress made in bilateral cooperation and joint projects, notably in the fields of renewable energies, hydrogen development and energy efficiency, according to a press release from the Ministry of Energy, Mines and Renewable Energies. During the meeting, the two parties welcomed the progress made in joint projects, on top of which the Taqati project, which aims to strengthen technical skills across the entire renewable energy and hydrogen value chain, and the South 2 Corridor project, which represents an important step towards establishing Algeria as the main supplier of clean hydrogen to Europe. In more Algerian economic news, the electricity group Sonelgaz has announced that it is preparing to hold consultation meetings via video conference with officials and operators in the energy sector in Senegal, Guinea-Bissau, Gambia and Cape Verde in order to examine possible opportunities for cooperation, according to a press release issued by the group. The initiative was announced at a meeting between Sonelgaz CEO Mourad Adjel and Algeria's ambassador to Senegal, Rida Nebais, at the company headquarters in the presence of several senior executives. This initiative, the same source added, is part of the implementation of directives from the highest authorities aimed at strengthening economic relations with African countries, notably in West Africa. The National Agency for the Valorization of Hydrocarbon Resources, ALNAFT, has awarded a pre-qualification certificate to the Chinese company Zhongman Petroleum and Natural Gas Group Corp. Ltd. ZPEC as an onshore operator investor, the agency announced in a press release. The pre-qualification certificate was presented at a ceremony presided over by Murad Biljahem, chairman of ALNAFT's management committee, the same source said. The Chinese company is currently showing a keen interest in investing in Algeria by taking part in the data room organized by ALNAFT as part of the Algeria Bid Round 2024 international competition, the agency said. And to wind up our program, the local development bank BDL has officially been listed on the Algiers Stock Exchange, marking the start of trading in its shares and making it the second bank to join the financial market. The listing of BDL shares was launched at the Algiers Stock Exchange by the Director General of the Treasury, Haj Mohamed Sba, who said that the listing of BDL on the Algiers Stock Exchange is an important event for the financial sector and a further step in the process of revitalizing the country's financial market, adding that it was also a concrete expression of the process outlined by the public authorities for the development of the financial system. And with this, we come to the end of our weekly program devoted to Algerian economic news. Take care and bye-bye for now.